Today is a very, very special day in the Hasidic calendar for Hasidim worldwide, and especially for Chabad Hasidim, because it marks the release of the first Chabad Rebbe, Rabbi Zalman of Liadi, in the year 1798 from prison. He was unfortunately imprisoned by accusations that were brought to the government by fellow Jews because of their discomfort of this new sect of Jews that were bringing slight variances in customs and in way of prayer that they were uncomfortable with, and were fearful that it was not going to stop there and that they were going to infringe on the traditional ways of Judaism. Maybe oversimplifying it somewhat, but that's the way it was. When the Chabad Rebbe, Rabbi Zalman, was released, in the eyes of the Hasidic world, it marked somehow God's permission, so to speak, that the Hasidic ways and the Hasidic teachings and the Hasidic dynasties and the Hasidim in general would continue. And the truth of the matter is that Hasidic philosophy and Hasidim did change the entire landscape of world Jewry until today. It is specifically through the lens of Jewish philosophy that have been able to bring back so many Jews back to Judaism and back to the path of their heritage. I'd like to share with you a story that growing up in Chabad, most of us have heard time and time again. If you've hung out with Chabad rabbis, it's possible that you've heard it as well. In the days of 200 years ago, when in Poland, Jews used to make a living by renting out, whether it was an inn, whether it was a farm, whether it was a store, from the local land barons, and they would pay them rent. Hopefully they eked out enough for a living to pay their rent, and everybody would be happy. What would happen if there was no business and they couldn't pay rent? So as long as the landlord was willing to be a little bit compassionate, but when that ran out, they basically would imprison the Jewish hotel leaser, and hoping that the Jewish community around would have a little achamanis, a little pity, they would begin to raise funds for his release. This way the landlord would be guaranteed his money, plus maybe a little bit more, and he knew that by Jews, the mitzvah of pidyon shvuyim, redeeming Jewish prisoners, is tops all, and therefore he was pretty guaranteed that they would do their utmost to accumulate the money necessary. The truth of the matter is that these Jewish communities weren't very wealthy. They didn't have enough money, and many times it took quite a while until they would actually be able to come up with the sufficient money to redeem the prisoner. In the interim, they probably weren't treated very nicely, and it certainly wasn't to the benefit of their health. And God forbid, who else knows what could have happened to them in the time that they spent in the prison, while the prison itself certainly was some pit or something that wasn't a very pleasurable environment. The story goes that this particular landlord, who had imprisoned a particular Jew for not paying his rent, the Jewish community wasn't able to come up with the money, so he was languishing in this prison. One day comes close to the birthday of the landlord, this land baron, and he invites all his fellow paritzes, as they were known, all his fellow barons and lords and so on and so forth, to come celebrate his birthday. Anyways, when it came time to the birthday, they were all getting a little bit drunk, a little bit shikar, as they say. They were getting happy, they were becoming challenging, they were becoming a little bit foolish, and some friends decided, you know what? Why don't we have the two wealthiest barons? Why don't they all love to go bear hunting. Rumor has it that they both have two King Kong size bears. Let them have a duel out with the bears. And in the midst of the stupor of their drunkenness, they both agree. Anyways, guy goes back. He says, what did I do? Why did I agree? He says, why? He says, because I really don't have a live bear in captivity. I have a bear costume. I skinned the bear, but I don't have. What's going to happen? So he says, I have an idea for you. You know, you still have a Jew in prison. Let him put on the bear costume and let him pretend to be the bear. He says, well, he's going to lose. He says, well, it's better not to be embarrassed than, it's better to lose than to be embarrassed. So that's what he did. He told the Jew, listen, you don't have a choice. You either put this bear costume. If by somehow you manage to save yourself from this bear fight, you know what? I'll let you out of prison. If not, no, what can you do? So, obviously, the Jew didn't have much of a choice. Amidst his objection, which wasn't being listened to, he was forced to put on the bear costume. Anyways, they're still drinking. The other land baron on a big rope brings out his huge bear. This one brings the bear, who's really the Jew, in the bear outfit. And they both bring them out on their ropes, and they let go, and they get up on their hind feet, and now they're circling each other. And this poor Jew in this bear costume thinks, I've got minutes to live. This is a real bear. What's happening? He's a foot taller than me. He's got these big paws. The strength behind those paws probably, unlike me. Anyways, but he figures he'll run and try to escape as much as he can. When he keeps running and he's running, but soon the big bear corners him. And he realizes as the big bear is picking up his hand to give him this lethal swipe, what does the Jew do at this final moment? With all his might, he begins to scream, Shema Yisrael, hear O Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, the Lord my God. And out of the other bear, he hears the final two words of the sentence, Hashem Echad, the Lord is one. Apparently, the other baron didn't have a live bear either. What's the moral of this story? That we as Jews, we all wear different costumes. Some of us look at other Jews and they look like bears. They have these funny hats on Shabbos. They have these long black coats. Other people look at Jews. They say, what? This looks like a Jew. This is what Jews look like here in this country. Everybody's got this different image of what a Jew looks like. But the truth is, that's only a costume. It's not the real Jew. Who is the real Jew? Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. The Lord is my God, the Lord is one. That's the real Jew of every single soul, of every single Jewish person walking this universe. And that's what Chabad, Hasidus, and Hasidus in general wish to accomplish. That if you want Mashiach to come, if you want the world to change, you have to look beyond the facade. You have to see the real truth behind everything. Who is the real you? Who is the real Jew? And that the Jew that you're looking at is actually a mirror image of you. Just because they don't seem to look the same way, just because their hair looks different, and just because their skin looks different, and just because they wear different things than you do, at the end of the day, we're all the same Shema Yisrael, Hear O Israel. And this would help us as a Jewish nation to come together, to be unified. And on this special day, we need to be focused more on recognizing that we are truly one family, and that everything else is just a big bear costume. So next time you see somebody that looks a little different, say Shema, and you might be surprised he'll answer back Yisrael. Have a great Shabbos.